And more on this is David Des Roches, who's a professor at the National Defence University. He's also former Pentagon Director of Arabian Peninsula Affairs. Thanks very much, David, for joining us once again. Now, why do you think the US is deploying more of its military where and now?
Well, a couple things. So first off, Iran, the supreme leader, and senior Revolutionary Guard officials have been making statements about how they are going to attack Israel again. And I think that it's kind of important to bolster the defenses of that from a defense perspective. I think the Biden administration wants to send a message of strength in the run-up to the election and prevent regional escalation. The domestic election is on a knife's edge here, and any broader military action could possibly tip it away from Vice President Harris. And then finally, I think that it's possible in the coming months, the U.S. Navy will not be able to keep aircraft carrier deployed in the region. They're pretty much tapped out for that. And so I think that some of these assets are there to replace assets that had been carrier-based. Instead, they'll be shifting while the carrier is gapped to a land-based aviation deterrent package.
And why would there be that shift in terms of taking back the Navy reinforcement?
Yeah, just the carriers can't remain at sea indefinitely. They have to be in port for some maintenance. And the deployment of the Eisenhower, which was in the Red Sea for a very long time, and then is followed by the Abraham Lincoln, which had been on deployment in the Far East, and then now is in the Middle East. Those ships are going to have a pretty significant period of port time. The other carriers, the carrier force is just perennially tapped out, given our commitments in the Far East and also the need to maintain a presence in Europe. So I think it's just going to be very hard. There's going to be some gap in carrier coverage, and that needs to be made up with land-based aviation.
And David, from what I'm seeing, from what they've mentioned, you've got the B-52 bomber.
Yes.
I haven't seen that in the deployments that the US has sent to the Middle East since the October 7 attack or since the war in Gaza. Is that a new thing?
It's new in recent history. It's not unprecedented. It's happened at other times. But normally the B-52 force is based in the continental United States because it's the strategic bomber deterrence. So when they're forward deployed, a significant part of the deployment package will be the B-52 and then the support package for the B-52. So normally they deploy along with aerial tankers and significant fighter assets. The main thing about the B-52 is that it's able to deliver a larger munitions package. So when Iran, if Iran were to threaten Israel more than it already is, and the United States wants to deter that, the B-52 can carry larger, deep penetrating bombs that may be able to disrupt and destroy some of these hardened, deepened Iranian positions that you couldn't do with carrier-based aviation.
So, I mean, I'm no military expert, David, but a lot of the things that have been mentioned here, including the B-52, this is for large-scale attacks. And certainly if Iran does retaliate, what we've been seeing in the last year and plus is that the drones, really, that they've been sending across, especially not just Iran, but Hezbollah, those are the ones that seem to be getting past the Iron Dome and the other defences that Israel has. Where does the technology come in against that? Because a lot of the things that are being deployed is on a mass scale, on a large scale, for a larger response.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So air defense is layered, and specific systems are effective against specific threats. So Iron Dome is effective against low-range rockets and missiles, the sort of things that Hamas launched into Israel, but it's not effective against the larger ballistic missiles that Iran fires at Israel. For that, you need Arrow, Patriot, THAAD, which the United States deployed a THAAD battery to Israel, and then the shipborne systems. For drones, usually that's guns surface-based guns or air-launched missiles, which can be launched from helicopters or fighter aircraft. Most of the drones launched from Iran at Israel were taken out by fighter aircraft as well as by passive measures and electronic warfare. So these capabilities would not be effective, particularly effective against drones. I think it's more as a strategic deterrent against another large-scale missile attack from Iran directed towards Israel.
Which, of course, is what it fired last time. It wasn't just the drones, as you said, it was also these ballistic missiles. Thanks very much, David Des Roches, a professor at the National Defence University. Thank you for joining us.
It's an honor.